Remake version Frog Prince. In old time when wishing still helped one, there lived a king whose daughters were all beautiful, but the youngest was so beautiful that the sun itself, which has seen so much, was astonished whatever it saw in her face. Close by the king's castle lay a great dark forest, and under an old lime tree in the forest was well. And when the day was very warm, the king's child went out into the forest and sat down by the side of the cool fountain. And when she was bored, she took a golden ball and threw it up on high and caught it. And this ball was her favorite plaything. Now it so happened that one occasion on the princess's golden ball did not fall into the little hand which she was holding up for it, but onto the ground beyond and rolled straight into the water. The king's daughter followed it with her eyes, but it vanished, and the well was so deep that the bottom could not be seen. At this she began to cry, and cried louder and louder, and could not be comforted. And as she thusly met, someone said to her, "What else, you king's daughter? You wept so that even a stone would show pity." She looked around to the side from which the voice came, and she saw a frog stretching forth its big, ugly head from the water. "Ah, oh, what a pleasure! Is it you?" she said. "I am weeping for my golden ball, which has fallen into the well." "Be quiet and don't weep," answered the frog. "I can help you, but what will you give me if I bring your plaything up again?" "Whatever you will have, dear frog," said her. "My clothes, my pearl and jewel, and even the golden crown which I'm wearing." The frog answered, "I don't care for your clothes or your pearls, not for your golden crown, but if you will love me and let me be your companion and play below, and sit by your little thin table and eat of your little golden plate, and drink out of your little cup, and sleep in our little bed. If you will promise me this, I will go down below and bring you your golden ball up again." "Oh yes," she said, "I promise all you wish, if you will but bring me my ball back again." But she thought, "How the silly frog does talk! All he does is to sit in the water with the other frogs and croak. He can be no companion to any human being." But the frog, when he had received this promise, put his head into the water and sank down. And it's a short while he came swimming up again with the ball in his mouth, and threw it on the grass. The king's daughter was delighted to see her pretty plaything once more, and picked it up and ran away with it. "Wait, wait," said the frog. "Take me with you. I can't run as you can." But what did it fail him to scream his croak croak after her as loudly as she could? She did not listen to it. It failed him to scream and run home, soon forget the poor frog, who was forced to go back into his well again. The next day, when she had set herself at the table with kings and all the courtiers, and was eating from her little golden plate, something came creeping splish splash, splish splash up the marble staircase, and when it had got to the top, it knocked at the door and cried, "Princess, youngest princess, open the door for me." She ran and to see How was outside, but when she opened the door, there sat the frog in front of it. Then she slammed the door too, and Great Haste sat down to dinner again, and quite frightened. The king saw plainly that her heart was beating finely, and said, "My child, what are you so afraid of? Is there perchance a giant outside who want to carry you away?" "Ah, no," replied she. "It's no giant, but a disgusting frog." "What does a frog want with you?" "Ah, dear father, yesterday I was in the forest sitting by the well, playing my golden ball fall into the water, and because I cried so, the frog brought me out again for me, and because he saw it said, I promised him he should be my companion, but I never thought he would be able to come out his water, and now he is outside there and wants to come in to me." In the meantime, it knocked a second time and cried, "Princess, youngest princess, open the door for me. Don't you know what you said to me yesterday by the cold waters of the well?" "Princess, youngest princess, open for me." Then said the king, "That which you have promised must you perform. Go and let him in." She went and opened the door, and the frog hopped in and followed her step by step to her chair. There he sat and cried, "Lift me up beside you." She delayed until at least the king commanded her to do it. Once the frog was on the chair and he wanted to be able on the table, and he was on the table, she said, "Now push a little golden plate nearer to me, that we may eat together." She did this, but it was easy to see that she did not do it willingly. The frog enjoyed what he ate, and almost every mouthful she took cooked her. At length he said, "I have eaten and I'm satisfied. Now I'm tired. Carry me into your little room and make your little silken bed ready, and we will both lie down and go to sleep." The king's daughter began to cry, for he was afraid of the cold water which she didn't like to touch, and which was not to sleep in her pretty clean little bed. She looked for a way to escape, but there was no other way out, until she remembered an old door that was in the royal kitchen. She had heard that the door led directly into the forest, but in her life she never went through the door. Her father also said that the door should not be passed by people carelessly. Without thinking, the princess saw the frog who was fast asleep beside her, and then quietly started to move away from the room. She did not know the frog had not fallen asleep. The frog, who saw the strange movement of the princess, immediately jumped from the bed and decided to follow. When following the princess, the frog felt familiar with this place in its bed. The frog ignored his feeling and continued following the princess. Arriving at the outlet door of royal kitchen, the princess looked around. The empty kitchen prompted the action of the princess. She tried to open the door with all her might, but the kitchen door was locked tightly. After several tries, the princess finally opened up. As soon as she went inside, the frog was confused, but he didn't want to lose the chance. The frog went inside without the princess noticing. The princess was very surprised that it was not a forest, but she saw a place filled with medical herbs. She still did not believe, as could only stay stone where she stood. frog who came in also paused for a moment to see the discovery of the princess. He let out his voice, "Croak, croak." The princess who heard the voice was even more shocked, and unconsciously her hand touched the purple medical tube. The medical broke and hit the frog's body. The princess was angry with the frog and asked him, What were you? Although she had not finished talking, suddenly a light appeared, as bright as the sun emanating from the direction where the frog was standing. The light was so bright that the princess could only close her eyes as she continued her question. Why you follow me, huh? Finishing that, she opened her eyes and saw a handsome prince in front of her. The princess was shocked until he passed out in the arms of the prince. The prince immediately took the princess back to her room and lay down on the bed. The princess thought why he could change like it. He thought hard while waiting for the prince to wake up from fainting. Then he realized that the medicine that had fallen earlier was an artificial concussion that had been made for him. But the next question is, who made it, and why did he know that I was hit by the witch curse? The prince thought so hard to able to find the answer to the question earlier, to the point that she did not realize that the princess had regained consciousness. The blank stare the princess gave after facing the incident made the prince feel guilty. Then he told her how he had been bewitched by wicked witch and that tomorrow they would go together into his kingdom. The prince's royal bodyguard named Henry heard the news that his master had recovered from the witch curse. His heart was very happy. Then he prepared the white horse carriage to bring the prince and princess back to his kingdom. The lawyer Henry was so displeased when his master turned into the frog that he had cursed 3 iron ribbons to be placed around his heart so as not to exploit with grief and sorrow. The carriage is delivered to young king to his kingdom. The faithful Harry helped the 2 of them in and put himself behind again, and it was so full of joy and this celebration. And when they had passed part of the way, the king's sons heard a cracking sound behind him, and if something had broken. So he turned around and shouted, "Henry, the train's broken?" "No, sir, this is not carriage. It is a reborn from my heart which was laying there in excruciating pain when you were a frog and imprisoned in the well." Time and time again when they were on their way, something cracked, and every time the king's son thought its carriage was broken. But only the bones emerged from the lawyer Henry's heart, because his master was liberated and happy. Since then, the prince knows that Harry is making medical herb to cure him, and he probably lives in the kingdom near of the forest where the prince lives. His loyalty to his master is very valuable value for the prince. He also realized the patience in dealing with a problem is needed to solve it.